We live?
All right. Welcome, everybody. We're here for the Puyo Puyo Tetris top 4 here at CEOtaku. I'm Asmodemus.
And I am 645.
And you might be wondering why at this anime fighting game convention that Puyo Puyo Tetris is on the main stage. And I hope that through watching this, you'll see exactly why.
Yes, it was kind of an open question as to what kind of... Are they going straight into it?
We're going in.
All right.
We'll explain later.
Okay.
So the game mode we play in this game is swap mode, and you'll see it switches between Tetris and Puyo Puyo, and these two players are so quick in both games, you'll see it's insane.
Okay, you'll see Wumbo keeping the middle 4 columns of his Tetris stack open, and it's so he can do this combo setup that he's burning through right now. You see that combo meter on the very right side of the screen, counting up to 8, 9, 10. Once the combo gets that high, like every line that you're clearing is sending as much garbage as a Tetris would, and you're going to see DDR-Den's Puyo board get completely filled right off the bat.
That's actually the round.
Yeah.
You could not defend against that forward
Like, we don't even have time to explain how that works before the round is over.
Sometimes these rounds in this game can be so quick, but other times it can go back and forth depending on the skill level of the players.
Very true. So DDR-Den's options is basically to either counter Wumbo's stack with the same strategy, which is what he's doing, but he has to be fast enough to do it, or to try and push up his stack really fast so that Wumbo cannot complete his combo setup in time, which I think is what he tried to do last round.
Wumbo started his 4-wide early, so now Dan has to set off his, even if it maybe doesn't have as much ammunition as the other.
Dan was a little bit behind Wumbo on that combo, so he couldn't cancel out all of that garbage that still dropped on his Puyo field.
Now we see Dan trying to fight out in Puyo. He has to dig down through all this garbage, and it's about to swap back to Tetris, which is really scary as well.
Yeah, and Wumbo is a Tetris main. He's very, very skilled at Tetris, as is clearly evident, but he said that he hadn't really played Puyo much before this game came out in America. But he's definitely competent enough to hold his weight in that game.
This is actually huge, though, because Dan has a swap combo going on, which adds extra garbage.
All the way to a 14 combo. That could have been a 15 combo on Dan's side.
And even though both Tetris sides were relatively the same with the 4-wide, the swap combo bonus garbage really won Dan the round there. And this time it starts on Puyo, which is important as well.
Yeah.
We said how
Dan is very experienced in both games. I think he has a fair bit more Puyo experience than Wumbo, so starting on Puyo is probably going to be his advantage for this round. DDR-Dan was at the EVO tournament for this game and got 3rd place against some very stacked competition. So you should be able to...
We see him waiting to set off the chain.
Yeah, he's waiting to fire off his Puyo chain so that it can protect his Tetris stack a little bit here. Like, that's going to send a fair bit of garbage over to Wumbo to cut off his combo setup.
He was able still to get a little bit of the 4-wide out, so he maybe can survive this onslaught. But
yeah, barely. Oh my god. He needed to switch out. He had to use the eyepiece in his hold box to delay a few more seconds. He might have been able to take it back to
that's
Puyo.
The first round going to DR-Dan. It's a best of 5 in winners finals here.
Yep.
And you can see just how insane the pace of this game can be at high levels.
All right. Wumbo is doing what's called a GTR starter for Puyo, where you build the L-shaped pattern there in the bottom left of his screen and just try to extend it off the top and the sides.
Yeah, we see Dan also doing a similar thing, but he just builds a little bit faster.
Yeah, Dan tends to build his Puyo stacks faster, and he tends to be a little more flexible in how he can use his Puyos.
So now if you watch Dan's Puyo board, it's still falling, still chaining, and all of that garbage is going to come and smother Wumbo here.
Yeah.
I don't think he can defend against this.
He can stall if he has to, but that is a whole lot of garbage.
We see there, as soon as you place a block that does not match anything, all of that garbage starts to hit up.
Another Puyo start.
And these Puyo starts really, really favor Dan. We saw earlier the Tetris starts seem to favor Wumbo. So it really makes a big difference whether you start on Tetris or Puyo.
Yeah. Wumbo might be trying to just do a few small chains to cover up Dan's Puyo stack so that Dan can't fire off a huge kill chain in time.
Yeah, like we saw there, all those garbages is messing up Dan's chain. He cannot get the trigger out.
So yeah, Dan has a lot of stuff built, but he couldn't fire anything off before the swap.
And that's similar kind of to Footsie's mind games and fighting games.
Yes.
Sending off those little harassment chains really can mess up your opponent.
Wumbo might not be as experienced with Puyo as some of the other players we have left in the bracket, but he definitely knows when to just fire off a small attack to delay his opponent.
Now I see Wumbo setting off his forward well, and Dan does not have too much to defend against it. He makes it back to Puyo. If he can dig down to his chain, which he now did,
Yeah.
the full chain going off here, that's a very good defense, and Wumbo does not have much set up in ways of defense himself.
Yep. Wumbo has to take that.
Stalling out a little bit, but you can't stall out 8 seconds like this.
Timer scams can be effective in this game. So that's 2 quick games for DDR Dan.
The Puyo start's really heading in favor of Dan, but here we see the first Tetris start of this round.
Yep. Wumbo once again. Oh, it looks like Wumbo's eschewing the 4 wide combo for a few T-spins instead.
And Dan actually had a really, really strong start with the T-spin double to triple, the cannon setup, and now Wumbo with the same thing. But his stack is a little jumbled here. He can't make it down to the Tetris there.
Yeah, Dan is really trying to stall out to the swap. And that is a lot of garbage to tank on the swap. I don't know if he can do it. Yeah, he's just giving, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
You see just how strong Wumbo is on the Tetris side of this game.
Yeah, it looked like Dan had a solid 4 wide starter, but he didn't have the right pieces to keep the combo going. And once it broke, he just couldn't fight off the onslaught.
And we see both players setting up for the 4-wide well. You see Wumbo is just a little bit faster. It's similar how to Dan is a little bit faster in Puyo.
Yeah.
Just able to be placing more blocks, more ammunition for these combos.
And Wumbo is almost perfectly timing his 4-wide. He uses exactly the first half of the timer to build a stack, and then he uses the second half of the timer to dig through it.
And that's a star.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about
Yeah,
that.
Dan's already dead. There's literally nothing he can do. This game
Every
has
time
been
he
decided.
places a block, five
Wumbo
lines
can let
are
go of the
coming down.
controller. It's fine.
And that's the quickest game
Yeah.
going to Wumbo. The 2 Tetris starts. Dan cannot build fast enough in Tetris to
All right,
offset
2-1 Dan versus Wumbo. And another Tetris start.
that. And the 4-wide well is just it's going to work out for Wumbo, so he's going to keep doing it.
I think all of the players in the bracket know how to do the 4-wide, but none of them do it as consistently or quickly as Wumbo does. So you'll see that DDR Dan didn't start with a 4-wide. He started, I think, with a DT cannon, just to try and push up Wumbo's stack and cut his combo off.
I kind of like the thought because then he
Yeah.
can change it into his own 4-wide.
Yeah, but the problem is while he's taking time to build that 4-wide, Wumbo is attacking him by burning through his own. And he doesn't have enough time to fight off the 4-wide in response.
That's so insane. Another Tetris start.
Is that like 3 in a row at least?
4.
Okay.
This is the 4th Tetris start in a row. It really, really does favor Wumbo. And that goes to show you, even if you're not too great with the other game, you can play this game if you are very, very strong in one of the 2.
Yep. Okay, Dan needs to start attacking. He needs to use these last 5 seconds to defend as much as he can. Oh, that's still a kill. That's 13 rows of garbage at least.
13 rows of garbage.
And I think the screen is only 12 rows high.
And as soon as any block holds up that X in the top, that's the end of the round.
Yep. And like the game is called Tetris, but you'll notice that neither player is really going for Tetrises. And it's because the 4-wide combo setup just does so much more damage.
Another Tetris start. This is insane. That's 5 in a row.
Yep.
I mean, what can Dan do here? He just needs to build a little faster, which is hard
I think
to do.
once he has half of his stack built, he should just burn through the combo.
Oh, that's a misplace.
He needs to do something with it now, or else this game is over. Oh, it sucks so much.
That was really crucial. Yeah.
He lost like 10 seconds and like most of his ammo on that.
Wumbo still has a full stack. He didn't really get much off, though.
Yeah, you're right.
He kind of stopped the combo. Wumbo showing some mercy maybe there. And now Dan gets to build up his Puyo chain, which is much more favorable.
Yeah, if Dan can fire this thing off right before the swap, he'll have a fighting chance on
He
this.
needs to, though. If he doesn't,
yeah, it's game over.
It's over. So you have to measure yourself out with building up and also being able to set off.
Yeah.
And he does get the trigger that time.
Wumbo tried to harass him and cut off his trigger there at the very end, but Dan already had the right pieces.
And that's, I think, an 8 chain on Puyo on the swap for DDR Dan.
All right. 10 combo. Oh, he has to break his 4-wide. That's it. He can still fight off the garbage, though. It's not over.
It is not over. Now it's a close game. Neither really having a lot set
Oh,
up
that was a
as far
misdrop.
as pressure.
Oh, he needs the
Wumbo.
T-spin. He can't lay that block. And it's going to clear a line. That's going to cut him off. So Wumbo's Tetris stack is actually kind of dire now. I think the only chance Wumbo has for this round, like he has to be able to tank whatever Dan sends to him here and also cut him off from receiving anything on the swap.
As well as building an offense of his own, which
Yeah.
is so hard when you try
That
to
is an
dig
ugly
down.
Tetris stack to try and clean up.
Very ugly. All the holes in the middle preventing stuff from happening and Wumbo dropping the round.
Enjoy my technique.
That's 1-up for DRDN. This is best of 5, so 1 win away.
Yeah, this is match point.
And it starts on Puyo. You see the extended GTR on the side of Dan, which does
they
3
both
wides.
have similar starters. And Wumbo decides to burn through his to try and cover Dan up. But Dan had his trigger built pretty vertically, and if he gets the blue, he'll be able to set it off.
And he does, in fact. That's the full chain set off from Dan. And so now Wumbo has to build so quickly.
A 7 chain, an 8 chain?
He has the time while the chain is happening to build up, but I don't think he got enough ammo.
Nah. This will be
Wumbo's running
8.
out here.
Yeah, and his only option there at the end was to try and stall it out to go back to Puyo. And that is the match. DDR Dan takes it, advances to grand finals on winner's side. And
Even after those 5 Tetris starts.
Yeah. Gosh.
Some crucial misdrops from Wumbo.
It's incredible how much faster top-level play in this game is compared to Puyo. Like, it's an awkward game to TO because there's, like, no in-game time limit.
Yeah.
So you run the gamut from matches you miss in the blink of an eye to just really long slogs.
If the players are pretty evenly matched and it's not the highest caliber, they can really, really go back and forth for a long time.
Yep.
Which makes it fun to play as, but in the realm of, running a tournament, not always the best. But we are so happy to be here.
Yes.
And glad to have this opportunity to
I
show
do want
it
to
off.
talk a little bit about the players we have. Coming up next in losers semifinal, we have Steelix 100 and Sensei, both Floridians, both locals, both hometown heroes. Steelix is probably one of the best Puyo players in the country. He was here for the tournament we ran at the main CEO in the summer, bodied everybody in that tournament free.
And definitely #1 in Florida.
Yes.
For this game.
And he has graced us again. Sensei, an experienced Tetris player. I think he was also another player who basically picked up Puyo when Puyo Puyo Tetris came out. And I can definitely tell he's been practicing it since CEO. Like at CEO, he was kind of just trying to improvise 2 and 3 chains. And this weekend, I've been seeing him do a lot more GTR fairly consistently. The problem is, while he's got the right game plan, I don't know if he has the speed to keep up with the other 3 players in the bracket.
Yeah, these kind of giants of Steelix, Wumbo, and DDR Dan.
Like, as good as he is, I hope he's able to showcase that in the next match.
And differences in skill levels in this game are very, very obvious.
Yeah.
They're very easy to see. A good thing to look at is just the speed of how they've placed their pieces, because that speed doesn't directly correlate to power, but oftentimes having more resources on the board will lead into a stronger offense as well as more defense as well. So looking just strictly at the speed of players is a pretty good metric to look at as far as the skill-wise.
Like, even if you don't really know Puyo that well, like you're not really sure of how to arrange the pieces, it's very advantageous, even if you're just completely winging it, to throw as much Puyo on your board as you can, just so that you have ammunition to work with.
And the Puyo you have serves not only as your offense sending garbage, but also to defend against the garbage that's coming at you. Before the garbage drops, if you can make matches and make chains, you can chip away at that garbage.
Yeah.
And get rid of it completely if you have high enough chains.
Yeah, like swap mode has this mechanic where if you have garbage about to drop on your field and it's too much for you to handle, as long as you can clear out any kind of pieces, one after the other, you can gradually chip away at the garbage before it drops and basically stall and tank your damage on whichever board can handle it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is an important thing, too. Deciding where you want the garbage to fall if you have to have garbage. Oftentimes, you'll see people take garbage in Tetris, since, first of all, it comes from the bottom, which makes it easier to deal with. And second of all, there's more lines possible.
Yeah. And like Tetris kind of has this built-in comeback mechanic compared to Puyo, because when you clear out garbage Puyo, it doesn't boost your attack at all. You're just regaining some of your space. But when you clear out garbage in Tetris, it counts as a regular line clear, so you can still use that for offense. That's one big reason why it's usually wiser to tank garbage in Tetris, because not only can you use it for an attack, but sometimes you'll even get lucky and it'll just line up a deep well for you to make a Tetris.
Yep. That's always fun to have when you get set 10 lines of garbage, but it's all in a row.
Yeah, when the other guy gives you your ammunition for you.
But that knowing the intricacies between Tetris and Puyo and how they interact is really important in this mode.
It's like I've seen some play this weekend where the players may not be experts at either game, but they know those intricacies about swap mode and how the two games interact, and they're really good at using it to their advantage.
Yeah. And talking about, we talked about swap combos earlier. We want to mention that when the two boards switch, well, it starts at 25 seconds at the start of the game. The last block that was dropping still drops, and if it does match with anything, clears a line, clears Puyo, that calls a swap combo starts. And if you can continue to match on the other board that you're now playing in, it increases the damage, multiplies it, and makes it very strong. So that's really, really important to know as well.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of players new to swap mode, they'll just be trying to clear out as much as they can on their foreground board before it swaps. But people who are aware of this will line up some kind of match on the board and just let it slowly drop in the background to initiate that swap combo.
There's so much to be thinking about during this game.
That's why swap mode in this game is my favorite puzzle game of all time, because not only do I really like Puyo Puyo and Tetris by themselves, swap mode really is greater than the sum of its parts, because you really have to think about how the two games interact with each other.
As well as one big thing in competitive Puyo Puyo Tetris is watching the other person's screen as well. We talked about the defense and offense and how they change off, but knowing when your opponent is setting off chains really is super important, because you can apply little harassments to try and break their chain.
And I noticed that was one thing that Wumbo was very good at against Steelix yesterday when they played. Steelix is much better at Puyo than Wumbo is, but Wumbo was able to recognize when he had just enough ammo to cut off Steelix's chain, because Steelix was building like this huge 10 or 11 chain, and Wumbo just sent him a 2 or a 3 chain at just the right time to cover that huge chain up, and Steelix was never able to dig out in time to actually use it.
Yeah, you'll see in very high-level Puyo matches, there's this back-and-forth action where both players are building up a long chain, but also they'll have a few little chains ready for harassment.
Yes.
And you need to have that little micro-offense and defenses if you want to do really well. But here we go, getting into losers semis here. Sensei versus Steelix.
And I believe this is just 2 out of 3?
It will be 2 out of 3, yes.
Steelix starting off with a single bag T-spin setup.
Yeah, but Sensei's stack luck not the greatest. He was messing up a little bit there. Able to clear it up now.
It's like nothing huge on either side. Steelix is looking for this is what we were talking about. Steelix has lined up the Tetris during the swap, so when that piece drops down on his board, it will initiate a swap combo if he chooses to capitalize it on his Puyo board. But it looks like he might just keep building a longer chain instead.
He's fair with those 2 lines of garbage. It's going to completely block off Sensei.
And that late Tetris in the background board sent enough garbage over to Sensei to cover up whatever he was building.
And now Dan doesn't quite get the trigger off, but he has a full Puyo combo once they switch back. Steelix, sorry.
I think Steelix really just wants to show off when he gets the opportunity. So he wants to fill up his entire Puyo board instead of triggering it prematurely.
We saw him play like that against Jabali earlier.
Yes.
Which was
I'll have to plug that after we're done with this.
But Sensei is not really able to get enough offense. You see him getting 3 lines or 2 lines with that.
Steelix, again, doesn't have much over there on the Tetris board, but that green piece that's dropping under the clear lines will trigger the swap combo, and here it comes.
And now this is the full chain from Dan.
Is this like
this is huge.
A 10 or 11 chain coming out of Steelix here?
It cut in the middle, but yeah, 10 chain.
Oh, that was a power 10. He has a...
That's the power of Puyo chain.
Yes, Steelix has a crown on his head. Yeah, just use your time, Sensei, stall it out, and just recollect yourself mentally for the next rounds.
We've seen Sensei very good at digging out of those really high-pressure situations, but with that much garbage, it's
2 players just laughing.
You can do.
All right, Puyo start.
Puyo start favors Steelix more, too. He has this first swap to set up that long 10 or 11 chain. And if your opponent isn't able to match your chain, there's not a lot they can do defense-wise.
Yep.
They can use, you know, something like a 4-wide in Tetris or something to kind of offset it, but if Sensei isn't ready for that offense, it's nothing great in here.
Steelix is going to trigger on the swap. He might go for a T-spin setup to capitalize on the swap combo as well.
He's looking for it. Can he get the pieces? A little late.
He still got,
got it anyway.
Yep. If only Sensei had an eye block. He probably could have stalled that out if he could just clear a line.
That'll be it. You see, as soon as Sensei places that block, it's done.
And I respect Sensei going for a complete GTR setup. Like, he's been really trying at it, but I think he needs to recognize that he can't keep pace with Steelix when it comes to building a full chain. I think he needs to set up a 3-chain to just try and harass.
Yeah, swap into that kind of harassment mode.
Yeah. Steelix has a DT cannon on the ready. There's the double. And the triple to follow.
You get a Tetris from Sensei to try to defend it. It did very well.
Yeah.
Only getting 2 lines out of that. And now Steelix with the 1-wide setup. He's going to have that on the swap. That's a lot of damage coming out, and Sensei really has to build fast. Because not only does he have to try to harass, he's now going to have 2 lines of garbage incoming.
Yep.
And he could have set off his own 3-chain there, but now it's blocked.
Well, not completely.
Not quite,
And that's one of the strengths of GTR, is that its design is to be able to tank a little bit of garbage and not have its trigger covered up. And he does cover a fair bit of Steelix's stack, but it might not matter. He had just enough. Oh, no, he didn't. The green doesn't drop.
Did block the trigger for now.
Yep.
And T-spin setup. So now Sensei has a fighting chance right now. He was able to prevent Steelix from setting off his full chain, which gives him a new lease at life here.
Yep.
He has the 1-wide well set up if he gets an eyepiece, which he's about to have.
So it looks like Steelix was looking to do a T-spin double on the swap, but didn't quite get the pieces in time.
But now, unfortunately for Sensei, all Steelix has to do is dig a tiny bit, and that
there it is.
one match will do it. Full chain going off. It's cutting a little bit, so it won't be as large. But even so, a 6-chain.
Yeah, that was a power 6.
And that's so much garbage. Sensei does not have anything to
yeah, he doesn't have the room to do it anyway. But when you're about to take a whole lot of garbage like that, the smart thing to do is to try and tank as much of it as you can on Puyo, and then weather the rest on Tetris to split the garbage between the 2 boards. That's probably too much to handle in any case.
Yeah. Ended up being 20-something lines in Tetris.
You kind of need to take what you can get.
You see just the difference in speed between these 2 players in Puyo. They're going for similar setups.
Yeah, they're both using the same basic form, but Steelix is at least twice as fast. And a Puyo chain that is twice as long as his opponent's
exponentially
does so much, exponentially more damage.
And Steelix did get his pretty much full chain off in the swap combo. This probably is
that's a 7-chain on the first swap. Rip, and that's the game.
Steelix
stays on for a loser's final.
But a good run for Sensei, getting 4th place.
Yep.
Trying his hardest in loser semis. But when you just can't build the Puyo fast enough, it's very, very hard to defend against.
All right, so this is a run back. These 2 players played yesterday. Steelix is a Puyo main. Wumbo is a Tetris main. They're both very competent at the opposite games, but a lot of how this match is going to go down is which game's going to start first.
Yeah, very similar to winners finals in that regard.
I think Wumbo won 1 round yesterday where it was a Puyo start, and it's because he didn't let Steelix fire off his chain first.
Yeah.
So again, like, even though Wumbo is a Tetris main, he's observant enough to know how to cut off his opponent when the opportunity presents itself and just stall to the game that he mains, basically.
And so now this is the top 3 competitors in Puyo Puyo Tetris, all fantastic players. We just got the trophy up here from Jabali. Got that heart shape, fantastic trophies for the winner here. I'm so excited to watch these next 3 matches, though.
Yeah, this is going to be a treat.
Super high level play. You don't see that often, and it's great to have it on such
And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but Wumbo is from Ohio. he flew out just for this game. Like,
Yeah.
DDR Dan got 3rd place in this game at EVO, but he also plays Arcana Heart and some other games here. Steelix and Sensei are locals, and Steelix came out just for this game as well, but it's not too far of a drive. Wumbo flew in from across the country to body some people in Puyo Tetris. Wait, what? 2 rounds, 3 games. So 2 there, first 3 games.
And this is once again best of 5 rounds here.
5 games, 3 rounds. Yeah. And it's like, again, like I just said, Wumbo flew out just for this game. Not 100% familiar with FGC tournament rules. Hence the clarifications right there.
And so we see Steelix on the right, Wumbo on the left, both going for that GTR setup. And once again, Steelix just a little bit faster.
Yeah, but Wumbo's trying to use a 3-chain to cover him up. But the way you counter harassments like that is to build very vertically so you can still reach into your stack, which is exactly what Steelix is able to do here.
He gets the yellows he needs as well to set off the chain. This is looking not great for Wumbo. He has to build really fast in Tetris here.
But an ironic weakness of having a long Puyo chain on the swap is that it gives the Tetris player time to build a stack. I think Steelix had like the perfect length combo right there to do as much damage to Wumbo as possible on Tetris.
Yes, he still took a lot, and now Steelix's offense in Tetris is mounting up as well.
A lot of the people in the room, even those on the other side of on the other half of the room who are in front of the other stream, are kind of turning their heads over to watch this.
You don't see this level of Puyo play or Tetris play very often. It's awesome to see just how fast these guys are.
All right. Neither player has access to anything fatal right now, so it's going to come back to Tetris.
Little harassments.
Steelix does set up a swap combo.
And back-to-back Tetris is a lot of offense, too.
Yep.
Steelix's Tetris field are looking a little cleaner, but
Wumbo has plenty of room to work with, and now he's dug out to his Tetris well.
That was a misplace, though, from Wumbo, I believe.
Okay.
He let it into a
double. So close. You have to watch the timer. You have to be aware of when you need to put the brakes on.
That was 1 second from the swap.
The timer scams in this game can be real.
Now another Puyo start here. And Steelix actually building his chain the opposite way this time.
Yeah, and a transition last as well. If Wumbo had only had a 2 or 3 chain harassment, he could have really wrecked whatever Steelix was building. The typical strategy in Puyo is to build the core of your transition first so that it's hard to cover up. Steelix only fires off a 4 chain. It fills up about 1/3 of Wumbo's board. And Wumbo decides that's not even enough to worry about having to... Oh, okay, he doesn't go for the 4 wide. It didn't look like he had the eye pieces to finish
it's
it off.
It's a 5 wide well now. He's still going.
What, that's something. Having a 7 combo in a 5 wide well is
he's
not
set up
easy
for the
to
cannon
do.
as well.
Yep. So T-spin on the swap. Doesn't quite cover Steelix up. Yep. So Steelix has plenty of room to extend. Wumbo's really trying to bury him though, just firing off whatever harassments he can get.
That time it did block the trigger, so Steelix has to do a little bit of digging here, which he's not able to yet.
Yeah, and like he can slowly dig his way out, but he's using up all of his time doing it. Like he's using all his time on defense, and he doesn't have anything decisive for the swap.
And now with the T-spin triple, that's so much garbage.
Yeah.
It's looking bad for Steelix.
Like, yeah, Steelix no longer has wiggle room.
That's going to be the round.
Yep. First game, Wumbo.
We see it not exactly mattering, or not being completely reliant on which game we start on that time. Just because of the harassments that
it looked like Steelix was building a 4 wide and misdropped in the middle of it, so it won't even work. Well, it can't. There's a possibility, but trying to improvise a 4 wide like that. And also, Wumbo got started on his combo way before Steelix did. But Steelix is going to have to hold so much of this garbage, he doesn't even make it to the swap.
And that was the whiff punish of a century.
Yep.
If you make that one,
you can't drop combos in Tetris. It's instant death.
These players need to be perfect execution-wise if they want to do this. And that's the problem with going so fast is there's a lot of room for error.
Steelix looks so indecisive right now. Like he's struggling trying to figure out what to make of his stack.
We got the 4 wide.
Yeah, now he has to stall to Puyo. Swap. Oh my god.
That's too much though. So much garbage from that 4 wide from Wumbo. That's another round.
Like, Wumbo is so good at finishing a game on the first Tetris board if he gets the opportunity.
And here he has it again. Steelix needs to be building faster than this to defend against it. T-spin single, not going to do enough.
Yeah.
And now the 4 wide starts from Wumbo. It's so much damage. Steelix is doing his best to defend, but you see it just mounts up exponentially more and more.
He needed. Well, it wouldn't have mattered.
4 red rocks.
Yeah, even if he would have tanked as much garbage on Tetris as possible, it still would have been too much.
Now Wumbo 1 game away from moving on to grand finals, and it's another Tetris start. It's so unfortunate for Steelix. His start not exactly the greatest either. You see how fast Wumbo is with the 4 wides.
Yeah. At the level that Wumbo plays at, I think the only way to counter his 4 wide is to do the same thing in response. Because even if you're not quite as fast, you can at least eat away at most of the garbage. Because if he gets down to a 10 combo, well, actually,
that was good garbage management from Steelix.
Okay, yeah.
So it gives him a chance to play in Puyo now rather than the other rounds.
And it is match point for Wumbo, so Steelix has to capitalize on this Puyo swap as much as possible.
Yeah, he needs to build a large chain and also be able to
Wumbo's
set it
coming
off.
in with a 3-chain harassment.
And Steelix actually sets
That
up
might
the full
be a
chain
7-chain.
So in response to that little harassment, sets off the full chain.
Yep.
He can't really get much on the swap. He gets a few. Oof. But was it enough?
Wumbo's able to tank. Oh, not quite. Misdrop.
Absolutely was enough there, and Steelix still alive now. Puyo start is really important for
Isn't
Steelix.
enough to kill.
It's really going to come down to whether or not Wumbo can set up that harassment effectively.
Steelix needs to praise RNGesus for every Puyo start he's able to get.
And you see actually Steelix building so vertically so he can deal with that harassment.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't that small 1-chain he sent off delayed his next piece so much that he wasn't able to use it before the swap. And I think it would have been the trigger that he needed. So now he has to survive.
Steelix has to survive the next 10 seconds. With the well starting up from Wumbo. He has some defenses up. These Tetris back-to-back will do a lot.
And he has plenty of time to stall.
And he gets the full chain now.
All right, now does that all connect? It looks like it, yes.
And that might be the game I think Wumbo's given
It's
up.
at least a 9.
Wumbo understanding he just doesn't
power 8,
have
never
the
mind.
defense. Can't stall it out either. He actually might.
But even if you have a moon over your head, even if he makes it back to Tetris, can this happen? I respect him trying to find out, but that is a red garbage Tetris block at the top. Nope.
There it goes. Steelix still in it, winning the round 2-1 now. Putting up a fight.
All right, this is a good match.
Another Tetris start. See what Steelix can mount up here.
He's going for the single back T-spin. And I only say single back T-spin because I do not know the names of all of those forms.
Not converting it into the Tetris well here. But Wumbo starting with his 4 wide. It's not the biggest 4 wide in the world. Only a 9 combo.
Yeah, Steelix can tank that. Oh, but
that misplays.
His stack's kind of ugly. I mean, if he capitalizes on Puyo, it won't matter, but
You've seen him do it before.
He
He's
does
playing
not,
really fast. You notice too.
Yeah, he does not want to go back to his Tetris board if he doesn't have to.
Steelix playing a little bit faster in Puyo because he knows he needs to set up this long chain now. A little harassment from Wumbo, 2-chain.
And Steelix has a 2-chain to counter. But does he have enough time to set up a full trigger? Yes.
Just needs the reds, yeah.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at least on the swap. He just needs to survive for it to happen.
Yeah. Wumbo can tank it all.
And Steelix can't. his Tetris stack a little too high there.
Yep.
And the Puyo not large enough to offset.
Yeah, if he hadn't had to play cleanup, he might have been able to take that.
But now, once again, Wumbo one round away from winning and moving on into grand finals. I like the T-spin aggression from Steelix.
Yeah.
I think it's doing really well. It forces Wumbo to set off his combo early.
Yeah, and an 8 combo or a 9 combo is powerful, but Steelix is able to tank it all on Tetris.
Yeah, he's not going to have a little bit of garbage. But only 4 blocks, nothing too large. Once again, gives Steelix the chance to build up his full Puyo chain.
This game is exhausting to watch.
Even if you know what's going on, it's so fast-paced, it's incredible. Now Steelix's trigger not... Oh, that'll do it, actually. Wow, that's a really large chain.
But yeah, now he needs to... Steelix is smartly stalling.
Oh, it actually cut in the middle.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't the full chain.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Pardon my French.
And Wumbo taking losers finals, eliminating Steelix, and we're going to get the run back in grand finals.
A hard-fought third place to Steelix 100.
And that's a little misstep in Puyo. You think that full chain's going to come through, and it would have been enough, I think, to seal
if it
the
hadn't
game.
cut.
But if you have a few Puyos misplaced, it'll oftentimes mess up the rest of the chain and end it early, and that's what happened there.
So we have 2 invaders for the grand finals of Puyo Puyo Tetris.
The last Floridian getting eliminated in third place.
And once again, I'm not sure if DDR Dan flew out mostly for this game. Like, again, I know he plays Arcana Heart and maybe some other games here as well. But this is one of his main games, and Wumbo, this is the only game that he plays here.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see the dedicated players being able to show off their skill in this game on the main stage here at a fighting game tournament. Shout out to CEO for hosting us. Like, we're very grateful for it.
It is incredible. I'm so glad to be here. And it's so much fun to watch these high-level matches. It's insane. And so we saw this in winners finals earlier.
Yes.
Very dependent on the Tetris or the Puyo start.
And DDR Dan's a pretty flexible player in both games. I know, like we saw earlier, he knows how to do the center forward as well. He just has to try really hard to keep pace with Wumbo so that he doesn't fall too far behind.
Which Steelix was not doing.
And it looks like they're going straight into it.
Yeah, here we go. A Puyo start for the first game here. Dan coming from the winner's side, of course.
It's nice having games you don't have to button check. We can just jump straight in.
And here's that little harassment in a 3-chain. That's a lot. Buries the trigger completely. Yes, Dan now has to dig down.
Again, Wumbo's really good about that, about when the opportunity presents itself, not letting his Puyo opponent build too much to kill him. DDR Dan firing off a very quick DT cannon.
That'll force Wumbo to set off his early as well. He noticed it. But this chain is going to end really soon on the Wumbo side. And it actually wasn't enough to fully offset
the garbage on both boards, well, not anymore. I was going to say both boards look pretty clean on garbage, but now Dan has a lot of awkward holes to dig through. And he might not get the chance to get back.
He does. He can still dig. He has a swap combo incoming. So that should offset some of this chain.
Yes.
Not enough, though. That's a full round. Oh, no.
It wouldn't have, it didn't matter where he placed the block. He was getting a full row of garbage anyway.
That larger,
nice harassments from Wumbo on that round.
The larger gray block on the top garbage is a full line. So each column is going to get one.
Dan is really committed to doing the DT cannon starter as fast as possible to push Wumbo stack up. But Wumbo's not even going for the 4-wide this time. Taking some Tetrises that the easy garbage presents itself for.
And it was enough now, but both players just trying to mount an offense. Mostly the 1-wide well now.
Whew.
And pretty much completely eliminated before Puyo.
Yeah, those Tetris stacks are very even.
And we see once again Dan building Puyo so much faster than Wumbo can. Some harassment once again from Wumbo. And it blocks off the green trigger.
Does he get a blue in time? No, he doesn't.
Now it's back to Tetris. Swap combo on the side of Dan, not for Wumbo. So that'll help Dan offset a little bit. But the full Tetris here, that's a lot of garbage.
He doesn't have room for that. No, he had. he had to clear the garbage even though it was going to plug the hole awkwardly.
Wumbo playing so quickly, winning that first game.
Yep.
Here we go, a Tetris start. We'll see if Dan
Still really enjoying the audience reactions to this
yeah.
game.
Dan actually going for the perfect start this time.
And he's got it. Watch Dan's side. So being able to completely clear your stack. Oh my god, he gets the double.
Double perfect clear.
That's 20 rows of garbage in total.
Wumbo did have the 4-wide. He's offsetting everything.
Yeah. But it's like this time he's using the 4-wide basically just
as defense rather than offense.
But he still gets enough to really harass
oh, it's not what he
Dan.
wanted there. And he's getting the swap combo. Can he set up for anything?
Yeah. Dan started that round with 2 Tetris perfect clears, and he still almost topped out in Tetris. That just goes to show you how powerful and reliable the 4-wide combo is. And how good Wumbo is at using it.
Yeah. Wumbo actually going for a longer form chain here. It's not quite going to work.
And DDR Dan is able to dig.
Yeah, with that 6 swap combo, that's so much garbage. We get some Tetris to offset it. No more garbage. Can he dig?
All right, both players are safe on Tetris right now. Dan has a T-spin double coming. They're fighting back and forth with him. Yeah.
Woo! This is insane. Now back to Puyo. Wumbo actually has more resources on board here. I don't know if he can convert it though.
Like the difference in pacing between both games, like that was just like a slugfest back and forth attacks on Tetris. Whereas in Puyo, like you're a lot of the time playing the long game for that haymaker chain.
And the mind games of whether or not you're going to set it off, whether it's harassment or not.
It's 2 completely different mindsets, and you have to remember what you were doing in Puyo when you swap back to it so that you remember what to build off of.
And Dan got his full chain there.
Yeah.
On the swap. Let's see what he can do with it.
6 chain. With a swap combo, loaded.
That's so much garbage, but Wumbo
clears out the Tetris.
digging so well.
He is at the bottom of his stack. Oh, that was a bad drop on Dan's part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hole's, he needs to
dig
dig it out now.
I wonder if that matters.
He has to stall, but it doesn't matter.
Wow. After all that, that one misplace from Dan was really what ended that round.
He might have been able to play defense without that.
That was so back and forth, though.
That looked like a weird misdrop on Dan's side. It looks like he was either going for the perfect clear or a 4-wide, but that T-piece is in.
He changed his mind mid-set almost. And that's not a good look for Dan here.
Dan has basically wasted the first 15 seconds of this round, and that is fatal against a full 4-chain. Or 4-wide.
That is absolutely the full 4-wide.
What's happening to the game? Or is that just our feed? I think that's a monitor glitch. I'm not sure if the stream monsters are seeing what we're seeing, but little technical difficulties.
And once again, Wumbo setting off those early harassments. That should cover the trigger for now. Dan has to dig.
It barely did. I mean, oh.
And he needs reds now. He doesn't have it. He does finally get
oh
the
my
reds.
god, oh my god, that works!
That's the full cut chain!
But he tops out on Tetris.
Not having the time that those Puyo chains take a while.
Oh, it's so sad.
That was an insane dig, but he didn't have time because of the aggression from Wumbo.
Oh, that kills me inside.
Now Wumbo up 2 games here.
That 1 game away from a reset. And I hope he understands how a bracket reset works.
Once again, that early harassment, it's not going to do too much this time with that trigger so high up. All he needs is that blues now, and that'll set off everything. Trying to figure out a way to extend it a little bit longer, but doesn't quite make it. Sets off what he has for now.
Is that a 5-chain? Yeah, that does a chunk, but not enough to, well, Wumbo might have fired his 4-wide on prematurely.
Does get the swap combo still.
Yeah.
With that T-spin double. So yeah, absolutely, that got rid of the 4-wide. And it's really interesting to see how these players adapt to their initial strategy being eliminated.
Yeah.
So now they have to decide from what they have now, what they can do to mount an offense and a defense at the same time so quickly. And Wumbo's stack doesn't look too great as far as harassment.
Here comes a world of hurt.
And he's probably going to...
A 6-chain is enough to kill if you don't have anything in response, but if Wumbo killed his Puyo board on purpose, just so he can try and end the game in Tetris, if he has the right pieces for it. But he tops out. So the best victories in this game to see is when a player's background board is literally dead like that, but they use those last 25 seconds they get to kill on the other board.
Yeah. And it was possible there. Wumbo could have done it, but that little misplace with the eye.
Like, clinching a victory with Elise on life like that is always a treat to watch.
Wumbo getting a little confused with his GTR set up there. The Puyo colors weren't exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, and he probably realized he didn't have any good harassments to deal with either.
And Dan waiting to set off his chain for the swap here. That's going to be pretty much the full board. 6, 7, 8 chain. And he has a 4-wide now to set up with the swap if he wants to.
Yeah, now Dan will be able to build a more powerful 4-wide than Wumbo if he can maintain the combo.
Yeah, it's not just building it, it's knowing which places to piece that you can continue to
You have to clear a line with every piece that you get, so you have to, and he has to dead end it at a 9.
But even so, that was enough to offset completely the 4-wide from
But you know,
Wumbo.
the difference between a 9 combo and a 12 combo in Tetris is actually pretty big. That's, what, an extra 12 lines of garbage?
Something that it pretty much scales up almost exponentially. You'll see it, with these little harassments, you'll see a 2-chain, well this is pretty much a 3-chain. But a 2-chain will send pretty much like 1 line of garbage, but then a 3-chain sends about 3 lines.
Yeah.
And so having the larger chains and larger combos matters so much.
And Didier Dan still building vertically enough to where that harassment wasn't enough to cut off his Puyo chain.
He's been double as well.
Wumbo cannot, well, I don't want to say can't, but yep.
That was looking rough. Didier Dan taking his first game in this first set. It's now 2-1.
We have a bit of a crowd for grand finals.
Yeah, as we see, as these sets have gone on, more and more people watching the stream because it's so incredible.
Dan is opting for some T-spin starters here to try and push Wumbo up. I don't know if he got enough.
That's a lot of ammo in this 4-wide from Wumbo.
$11 combo. Oh, but it's enough garbage to tank.
That's deal. Yeah, you can absolutely deal with that.
But like when they get back, his combo's still live, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one more combo might push up Dan's stack to top out.
He needs to build a long Puyo chain now.
Yeah, Dan has to do something to protect himself on the swap.
He has to set it off now. The harassment is going to be too much.
Yeah.
Only getting into 5-chain, or 6-chain here.
That's a pretty good one.
An 11 combo.
Oh, and it was enough to really make a push on Wumbo.
He has that
He has the Tetris.
Yep.
But Dan has a Tetris of his own, and his garbage is so clean.
Wumbo had to dirty up his field a little bit for that double.
Wumbo could stall out to Puyo if he had to, but he didn't put the brakes on.
And that's just knowing where to take the garbage. That's
and to be fair to these players, it's hard enough to keep track of both of your boards, but to also be watching both of your opponent's boards to try and make a read on what you need to defend against, it's not an easy thing to do by any means.
And that really just shows the difference in skill level that is possible in this game.
Yeah.
There's so much to keep track of and so much knowledge to know. That trigger stays alive until that one piece of garbage.
That was a good push by Wumbo to really hurt Dan.
Fortunately for Dan, though, he almost gets the perfect clear there, but Dan does have a yellow up first thing in Puyo, so he can set off the chain.
So as long as he can tank this.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that?
Misplaced, but he sets it off nicely.
He can stall if he has to.
He hit that Z-spin.
Oh, he killed his Tetris board.
He survives, though, and this is...
Oh, they cut short!
It's still enough. It's still enough for now. Here's the full chain.
All right, if that's it. Can Wumbo stall? Wumbo needs to be able to clear.
He does a little bit. He still stalls out.
He still has a red to stall with.
I think
See how he's eating away at his garbage, not letting it drop just by clearing stuff? And he'll take one of those rocks? Will he take 2 of them?
Wait, what? Okay. Either way, that was a little risky. I don't think he needed to do that.
He was a few frames away from killing himself before the swap. That was a frame-perfect swap.
It wasn't even necessary.
Yeah. Slick techniques, Wumbo.
Strict 4-wide setup from both players.
And Didier Dan smartly starts his combo a little bit before the halfway mark of the timer.
Biting a little bit early, forces Wumbo to bite early as well.
11 combo from DDR Dan. And a 9 combo in response.
Is that
Woo!
that's a lot of garbage. That might be the round.
Woo!
And that was Dan just starting a little bit early. Wumbo too slow on the reaction there. And that's the difference between Wumbo had a 9 combo, Dan had an 11 combo.
Yeah.
And you see how much more garbage there was.
And Wumbo had a larger stack to work with for ammunition for the combo, but he just wasn't able to get to enough of it before the swap. Oh, what is that misdrop over on Dan's side?
That's really bad.
That, it's like, why is he even still like stacking on top of it? Like, he needs to utilize what he can. And see how he can't hard drop.
Yeah, it's so much slower.
Yeah, he has to slow himself down so much to work around that misdrop that it killed him.
It's 4 more lines. He's still technically alive.
Yeah. The execution errors in this game can be real. Right, Wumbo is on set point, 1 round away from resetting Grand Finals.
It's that whiff punish that kills you your entire life bar.
Yeah. Like,
whiff punish that loses you the game. A single mistake absolutely ends it.
Okay, so DDR Dan has about 2/3 of his stack built for the 4 wide and gets straight to work at burning through it. Wumbo is 4 behind in the combo.
But this is the end of Dan's, and he's still going. It's still a 10 chain versus an 11 combo.
Yeah, the difference between a 10 combo and 11 combo in Tetris is
that much garbage.
Is 4 rows of Puyo garbage, like almost half of the screen. Speed is a huge difference maker.
And now Wumbo is actually struggling to set up the harassments that he usually goes for.
It looks like he's trying to stall out for the swap.
I don't think he can't, though.
He
can.
Yeah, he might kill himself on the swap. 11. 12.
13.
13. 14.
It wasn't enough, though. He has to build fast now. He has to win in Tetris now.
Wumbo has 15 seconds to make magic happen.
I don't think he can do it.
He has a triple, but no. Dan knows he can stall. He knows Tetris has plenty of time to stall. See, utilize the hold to do it. Again, the timer scams are real. Set point for both players. If DDR Dan wins, it's his tournament. If Wumbo wins, we're resetting the bracket.
And it starts on Puyo. That could be really important. Wumbo deciding against that early 2-chain, maybe going for a 3 instead. He's not getting the reds he needs, though. He needs to harass soon. Here it goes. That's going to cut.
Yeah, that's a power 2.
That'll be less than the 3-chain was, and it doesn't break the
If he gets the yellow,
trigger.
if Dan gets the yellow, this is going to get ugly.
He didn't
get it! Oh!
Wow. And that's huge. And now Dan messing up a little bit on his 4-wide setup. He has to change it.
Wumbo stack is looking real scary right now. He's
going
for it.
There's nothing to defend against it either. He has to get back-to-back Tetrises now. He just has to build really fast.
That's a 10. It's not enough to kill, though.
But Dan's looking really bad in Puyo. That might be it.
Oh, yeah, it is it.
No, he gets the red.
No!
He's out. Still surviving.
Like, he can't fire off his whole chain, but
that's it. That's it. Oh my gosh.
He made it.
Wow. Insane. That's insane. He still has one more swap. One more swap. And DDR Dan takes it in Grand Finals, a 3-2 over Wumbo. So close down to the last round.
That was an incredible finish. Wow.
Such incredible play. He had to dig down to his full chain. He was able to do it immaculately.
Oh my God.
Right at the end.
How much time did that top 4 take? We started like right at 4 o'clock, right? we finished that in like 45 minutes.
Nice. So that was the top 4 for Puyo Puyo Tetris. I hope you loved our incredible, crazy game. It's a fighting game. I hope you understand now how this works.
Play Puyo Puyo Tetris. It's a great game. And if you want to see some of the earlier matches we had in the tournament, I had a recording station set up last night, and I've already uploaded all of those videos to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/645. So you'll be able to see like Wumbo versus Steelix earlier in the bracket, some of the other players we had, as well as Jaberly gracing us with his presence in bracket, which was pretty funny.
And we were commentating that as well, so
yes.
there's explanations for things
Once
as well.
again, shout out to everyone at CEO for supporting us.
If you would like to play the game, it's available both on PS4 and for the Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
As well as if you want to get better at either of these games, if you want to learn Puyo or Tetris, there's a great website called Puyo Nexus.
Very important.
That you should check out. It's a fantastic resource. The largest English community for Puyo Puyo. It
Yeah.
has tutorials, it has guides, it has all the forms you need to know.
And if you want to learn some of those advanced Tetris techniques as well, maybe if you're not really up to speed on what the heck a 4-wide does, shout outs to Hard Drop. Definitely check them out, their wiki. They have a ton of different setups to learn. Oh, the medal does not fit over Sensei's afro.
But that's probably going to do it for us for
Yes.
Puyo Puyo Tetris. I hope you enjoyed
Yes.
the matches. We got top 4 up
And
here now.
and I hope this becomes a regular thing at fighting game tournaments because I will come out just for that game every time.
Stay tuned for the next game coming up shortly. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.